Have you ever noticed that your English sounds amazing until another human being shows up? Seriously, alone in your room, you're basically bilingual. You're walking around the house saying, honestly, I believe communication is one of the most important skills in the modern world. Perfect pronunciation, perfect grammar, confidence, energy. And then someone says, hey, how are you? And suddenly your brain becomes, yes.
It's incredible how fast confidence disappears.
Instantly. In my head, I sound intelligent. In real life, I sound like Google Translate buffering.
And the craziest part is that this happens even to people who already know a lot of English.
That's the frustrating part, because you start thinking, if I know the words, why can't I use them?
Exactly.
And honestly, I think this is one of the biggest emotional problems English learners face, because it makes you feel fake. You understand videos, you understand movies, you understand podcasts, but when it's your turn to speak, your mind just freezes.
And people usually think the problem is vocabulary.
Yes.
But most of the time, the real problem is pressure.
Okay, can I tell you something deeply embarrassing?
Please do.
A few years ago, I used to prepare fake conversations before going to sleep.
That's actually really common.
No, Robert, I wasn't practicing. I was performing.
Oh no.
I literally walked around my room pretending I was being interviewed by American celebrities.
Okay, now this is getting interesting.
And in those imaginary conversations, I was incredible. Quick answers, advanced vocabulary, perfect emotional timing. I sounded like I belonged in a Netflix series.
Mental fluency strikes again.
Exactly, but then one day, something horrible happened.
Uh-oh.
A real American tourist asked me for directions,
Real human interaction.
the final boss. He walked up to me and asked, hey, excuse me, do you know where the nearest pharmacy is? And Robert, I understood every single word.
Important detail.
Every single word. But my brain panicked so hard that I forgot how language works.
Gone.
Completely. And I answered, yes, the pharmacy is existing.
Philosophically speaking, that's correct.
Thank you. And then I pointed in a random direction because I got nervous.
That poor guy is probably still looking for medicine to this day.
I hope he's okay.
But this story is important because you understood him perfectly,
Right,
which means the problem wasn't comprehension.
exactly.
The problem happened in the transition between understanding and responding.
That. That tiny moment between hearing English and producing English feels terrifying.
Exactly. And that happens because speaking in your head and speaking out loud are completely different experiences for the brain.
But they feel identical.
Neurologically, though, they're very different. When you think silently, your brain feels safe. There's no social pressure, no judgment, no risk of embarrassment. You can search for words slowly. You can reorganize sentences. You can even restart the sentence mentally without any consequences.
Which I do constantly.
Everybody does. But real conversations completely change the environment. Suddenly your brain feels watched.
That word is perfect. Watched.
Exactly. And when human beings feel watched, performance pressure appears.
It feels like your IQ drops 40 points.
Honestly, it can feel exactly like that. Because your brain takes resources away from creativity and language and redirects them towards survival and self-protection.
Which explains why I forget words I learned years ago.
Exactly. People think, oh no, I forgot the word. That means I don't know English. But that's not true. The knowledge is still there. Access just became harder under stress.
That honestly changes everything.
Think about it this way. Your English knowledge is like a huge library. When you're alone, the lights are on. Everything is organized. You calmly walk to the correct shelf and find exactly the word you wanted.
A beautiful, peaceful library.
Exactly. But during a real conversation, someone turns off the lights, starts a countdown timer, and says, answer now.
Yes, that's exactly what it feels like.
The books are still there, but access becomes chaotic.
Wow. I think a lot of people genuinely believe they're bad at English when they're actually just overwhelmed.
Completely. And unfortunately, many learners interpret panic as incompetence.
Which destroys confidence.
Exactly.
And then people start avoiding speaking.
Which creates even more fear.
It's a horrible cycle.
Because silence feels safe temporarily, But in the long run, silence increases anxiety.
That is painfully true. The more I avoided speaking, the scarier speaking became.
Exactly. Your brain starts treating English conversation like danger.
Like public speaking.
Exactly. Or like jumping into freezing water.
Funny enough, once you start talking, sometimes it becomes easier after 30 seconds.
That's very common. Because your nervous system slowly realizes, oh, we're not going to die.
Very encouraging message.
Your brain is dramatic.
Extremely dramatic.
Most brains are.
So how do people actually fix this?
First, they need to stop waiting until they feel ready.
Ouch.
A lot of learners secretly believe confidence comes first. Like, one day I'll magically feel comfortable and then I'll speak.
That was literally my strategy for years.
But confidence is usually the result of repeated action.
Not the requirement for action.
Exactly. Your brain needs proof that speaking is survivable.
I love that word. Survivable.
Because perfection is impossible. Survival is enough.
So basically, my first goal shouldn't be sounding fluent.
Correct.
It should be staying in the conversation.
Yes. That's huge. Even short, messy answers are progress.
I think many learners underestimate the power of small conversations.
Absolutely. A 30-second interaction matters. Ordering coffee matters. Sending voice messages matters. Answering a simple question matters.
Because every successful interaction teaches the brain, hey, this isn't dangerous.
Exactly.
Okay, another thing. Why do conversations feel so fast?
Because movies destroyed everybody's expectations.
Absolutely true.
People think fluency means speaking 900 words per minute. But native speakers pause all the time. They hesitate. Restart sentences. Forget words too.
That's actually true.
Confident people usually speak slower, not faster.
Wait, seriously?
Absolutely. Speaking quickly is often a sign of nervousness. Calm people allow themselves time to think.
I never thought about it that way.
Silence feels terrifying to language learners.
Yes,
But usually silence feels much longer to you than it does to the other person.
that's such an important point.
Most pauses are completely normal human conversation.
Meanwhile, I panic after half a second.
Exactly.
Another thing I realized, I studied English silently for years.
That's incredibly common.
Reading, watching, listening, but never actually producing sound.
And that matters because speaking is physical. Your mouth needs training too.
That sounded weirdly athletic.
Honestly, language is partially physical. Your tongue, lips, jaw, breathing, all of that matters.
Which explains why some words feel easy mentally but impossible physically.
Exactly.
The word comfortable still attacks me emotionally.
It's a dangerous word.
In my head, comfortable. Out loud, comfortable.
R. A beautiful new dialect.
Thank you for supporting my artistic expression.
Always.
But seriously, reading out loud really helped me a lot.
It's one of the best exercises because you're teaching your brain and your mouth to cooperate in real time.
And at first it feels awkward.
Very awkward.
I remember reading out loud alone and still feeling embarrassed even though nobody was around.
Which proves the fear is internal, not external.
Wow, that was deep.
Thank you. I drink coffee and occasionally become a philosopher.
Honestly, I think a lot of people listening to this are probably exhausted. Because learning English can feel emotionally heavy sometimes,
Definitely.
especially when you know you're improving, but your speaking still feels inconsistent.
That's one of the hardest phases. Because externally it looks like you're struggling, but internally your brain is building complexity.
So if someone listening right now feels frustrated, what would you say to them?
I would say this. If you can already create English inside your mind, you are much closer than you think. Your brain is already building the language. Now you just need emotional repetition, not more perfection.
Emotional repetition. That's powerful.
Real conversations, real pauses, real mistakes. That's what builds speaking confidence.
Not hiding until you magically stop being afraid.
Fearless people don't exist.
That's comforting.
Courage matters more than confidence.
Wow. V, okay. I really want everyone listening to hear this part. V, if your English disappears when you speak, that does not mean you're stupid. V, it does not mean your learning failed. V, And it definitely does not mean your English is fake. V, it means you're human. V, and your brain is still learning how to feel safe while communicating.
R, that was beautifully said.
V, so this week, here's your challenge. V, have one small conversation in English. V, not perfect, not impressive, just real. V, even if your voice shakes, even if you pause, even if your brain panics for a second. V, stay in the conversation anyway.
R, because every imperfect conversation rewires fear a little more.
V, and when you finish, come back and tell us. V, what was harder, starting the conversation or continuing it?
R, and if this episode helped you feel less alone, hit like and subscribe. R, it really helps more English learners find the channel.
V, remember, V, fluency is not perfection. V, fluency is freedom.
R, and your English is already better than you think.
V, I'm Vivi.
R, and I'm Robert.
V, this is Fluency with Vivi. V, see you next week.